Will you please tell me who you think is going to win our election on October 21st?
You know, I can't even remember all the people that are. Okay, it's for the. Is it the federal election? Yeah, and it's. That's not PM, is it? No, it is PM. And Scheer is one of them. That's who I don't want. I think he's a. So I don't want that piece of. And. Because he's too much like Ford, you know, that, bull-necked, pickety, white. So, but I don't want them to win. But I don't know who else is, well, Justin is in the running, right, So, a lot of people can't stand him, but, I mean, he might not have been, that great for some things. But, like, they don't come to mind as easily as the fear that these demons are putting into the world. I mean, they're up their pound of flesh, their ounce of lead, their ounce of flesh, their pound of lead. They're bastards. They're and I don't want them. I don't want them running. Anyway, the Conservatives make me really nervous because I think they're ruining some people's lives. Anyway, I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
You too. What's your name?
Would you mind telling me what you think about the commercialization and population density increase with all the condos here at Yonge and Eglinton, please?
It's a bit much.
Pardon?
It's a bit much, but really you can't expect anything different. It's Toronto, downtown, midtown Toronto. So it's kind of bound to happen.
Anything else?
I don't know, it's getting to be a bit much for the construction, I think. I think they need to take a break and just let it go the way it is and then restart construction again.
Thank you very much. What was the first Who concert that you were ever at?
The first two concerts.
If you can remember.
I can remember the Doors and the Rolling Stones.
And they played at the same show?
They were playing in the C&E at the Coliseum, the Doors show.
What year was that?
I can't remember, 67 or so.
Okay.
But one of the better rock and roll shows I've seen in Toronto was in 69 in June. And it had a weekend called Varsity Pop. And that was Steppenwolf, Chuck Berry, Tiny Tim, Dr. John, Sly and the Family Stone, the list, Johnny Winter, the list goes on and on.
Wow.
But I got to have a hot dog with Chuck Berry, and I was 14
Amazing.
Years old, young
Amazing.
guitar player, so for me it was the tops. Right
You
there.
said how old you were back then?
I was 14 at the time.
14.
Yeah.
What did you think of tonight's show here in 2019 in Toronto?
Well, I came to see a rock show and I got one.
Fantastic.
Plus, all of their orchestral stuff, which was fantastic.
Wow. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Could you please tell me what happened to Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, according to the news, he committed suicide, but I don't believe it.
Thank you very much. Could I get your opinion, please, about Prime Minister Trudeau in the brown face, black face photo?
Yeah, I think he's just having fun with things, and I think he's basically, showing that Aladdin's, fun. It's a part of Hollywood, so I think he's just doing a good job, really.
Thank you.
Showing the younger ones as well.
Thank you very much. What advice would you give to President Donald Trump?
What advice? Oh, what advice? Let's see. What advice would I give Donald Trump? Well, it's. I would say for him that to resign. I would advise him to resign instead of being impeached. He's only delaying the inevitable. I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be impeached, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So I think he should resign, but of course he's not, because his ego is too big, and he's not going to admit to any faults or whatever. And they keep asking him for information, and he keeps obstructing it. So he's actually doing what he's saying he's not doing by not cooperating. But so I would tell him that probably to do that. But of course he's not going to do it. What advice would he take? He's got his experts. He's had 34 experts. People either being fired or resigned, right? And so he's got so many people that have been with him, and they've left because he didn't take their advice. He puts down the CIA, the NSA, the FBI. He puts all their experts down and says, I don't believe it's this. He trusts what he thinks on his own belief systems. So it's kind of crazy. These guys have been in the game for 20, 30, 40 years, experts in strategy and then so on and so forth. And they've advised him, and he's fired them. He doesn't like it. He fires them. They resign. He says he fires them, but they actually resign. It makes it look like he's the one who fired them. But I would tell him probably to. I would say, well, there's not much you can say really, to a guy like that. I'd say enjoy the few months you got left till 2020 or whatever, and then prepare. I tell him, get ready for the big fall, right? Get ready for the big fall. There will be no great escape.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Please, what is the best and the worst part of having a dog in our city?
Well, the best part is having a dog, that's for sure. But it doesn't always work for everybody, We don't all have time, and they need a lot of time. They need a lot of attention. We're fortunate that we have good green spaces in Toronto and plenty of good spots to take them. But is it a little overcrowded sometimes? Probably. You see dog walkers all over the place, and they're walking other people's dogs because they don't have time to walk their own. So it makes you wonder if they even should own a dog.
Thank you very much. Sir, it's Remembrance Day 2019, and I'd like to ask you what it means to you, please.
Well, it's very, very important to me. Probably the most important day of the year. My family being in Canada for a long, long period of time. My first relative killed in action was my great-great-great uncle John MacDonald, who was 2IC to General Brock, and after Brock fell, he became the commander of the Canadian, what it was then the British forces in 1812 at Niagara Falls, and there's a big plaque to him at Brock's Monument. So that's the first one. I lost a number of great uncles in the First War, and fortunately in the Second War, there were family members lost, but not direct, they're sort of cousins as opposed to either my parents, grandparents, or uncles and aunts. So the Second War doesn't have quite as painful memories as the First War, but there've been lots of family stories about those who were lost in the First War. So Remembrance Day is tremendously important, and I'll go further to say that Don Cherry was correct in his observation that it seems that many fewer people are wearing poppies than they did a few years ago. And to me, that's tremendously sad. I do understand that for many people who've come to this country more recently, that they won't have had the experience that I have had in losing relatives in war for Canada. But I think the poppy has to morph into a symbol for respect for our armed forces and what they contribute on a regular basis. And everybody should wear a poppy. Beg one, borrow one, pick one up off the ground, but it's a symbol of freedom for this country, and that it doesn't come free, and that there are people every day out there prepared to put their life on the line for Canada and Canadians. So how's that?
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Good.
I'm asking people today if they're vegetarian, vegan, or gluten-free. Are you any of those things?
I'm recently vegan.
May I ask you why you're recently vegan?
It's more for it's more for animals for me. It's more of a conscious thing than anything else. That's first, and then second, my health as well too.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm wondering, can you tell me, have you ever seen a UFO before?
Yeah, I actually have.
Can you tell me about it?
Sure, I was in Calgary, like just outside of Calgary, close to Bragg Creek, in a hot tub, and that's one of the places where they built like a landing pad for them, just like here, come land. And dude, it looked like a shooting star at first, but then it zigged and then it zagged, and I was like hanging out of the thing, you know, like looking at this freaky, and there's like really nothing else that it could have been, in my opinion. And so then when I was there, I would position myself so I'd look at like the whole skyline, and I saw that same phenomenon, if you would want to call it, more than once. I actually believe that because there's a little bit of adoption in my family, that I'm part, you know.
You think that you're part from another world?
I believe it.
What did the UFO that you saw there in Calgary look like? Did you tell me already?
It looked like a shooting star, but instead of going in a straight line, it would zig, it would zag, and then it would just zip off and kind of fade away.
So it was clear?
It looked like a star.
Like whitish?
Yeah, it looked like it was far, far away. It didn't look like it was close, but it was definitely doing some kajiggers.
And there was only one?
One at a time.
One at a time. Was it like?
But I've seen it on more than one occasion, because I go and visit them semi-often, and I love just hanging out, drinking beers, and out. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hey, cheers, brother.
If you could ask God one question or say anything you wanted to God, what would it be?
I want a new life.
One at a time, guys.
I can freestyle, right?
Pardon?
I can freestyle. Anything I want to say to God, it will be up to me and Him.
Okay,
and
so it's private.
Face to face, and then.
Okay, very good. What about you? Do you want to say something?
Yes, I would want to say that I want to be Santa Claus one of these days. But I wasn't born in the white world. I was born in the native world. And I would want to be Santa Claus.
Thank you very much.
I got one lyric left.
Okay.
This is how it goes. When it goes down to 10 toes, everything's everything. You can't get everything by the dollar. And you have to make some more dollars. That's what we're doing. Everything's going good.
Love this.
Thank you very much.
Every day's a Merry Christmas Day.
Thank you very much. Elton John.
This is what I want to do.
Elton John just played his 26th show in Toronto. And I'm wondering, have you seen Elton John in concert before?
I have. This is my 5th time.
Wow. How does tonight compare to the other shows?
You know what, I saw Elton John in 1995 and it blew my mind. It's the reason that I started going to concerts. And tonight's show was one of the best because it was such a cumulative effort and he went through everything in his catalog and really made homage to his 70-year or 50-year career, but 70 years of doing music. It was amazing.
Wow. Do you have a message for Elton? If you could give him a direct message, what would you say to Elton John?
Elton John, I'm alive because of you. I grew up in a small town and I was a honky-tonk man. And because of you and your bravery, I was able to come to grips with my sexuality and deal with my life and become the person that I should be, just like you. So I am me because of you. So thank you.
Wow, thank you very much.